Well, so we're right on air, and we told you that the focus for our discussions today, especially as the world is marking World Health Day, is diabetes. It's a fearsome disease because since 1980, the numbers of those who have been infected have quadrupled. But we're told that among the two types of infections that we have, type 1 and type 2 diabetes, type 2 is more controllable, that is more predictable, that is if we control our lives better. And we're in the mainstream of things. We call ourselves lower middle income, and we fall in that category of some of the nations that tend to be improving livelihoods of people, and it also means that we're just going wayward in terms of how we have to manage our lifestyle. But now let's talk something serious. Somebody who has served the world of sports, and Mamavi, we're talking about James Oyedeji, passed on yesterday morning, and
passed on Monday actually.
Oh, Monday.
Yeah.
We've all encountered him one way or the other because I used to do some kind of sports in my career, and I've talked to him severally. He's a friend, and I should say that he served his due. James Oyedeji, for many of you who listen or watch a lot more sports analysis on radio and TV, you're very much familiar with him. We call him the sports encyclopedia, is that it? Or football historian or something of the sort.
Yeah, I called him Uncle James.
Yeah, Uncle Buddy. I call him Uncle Buddy.
When Ibrahim Asante joins us to tell us a bit more about this man, beyond what we heard him say, who really is he? Redwan, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, this is sad, right?
Yeah, very, very sad. You know, especially from my point of view, having met him in the last days of his life on Earth. We're shooting a documentary, the official documentary for Hearts vs. Kotoko.
Okay.
And we're speaking to a lot of people. We went to Kumasi, we've spoken to Ablode, we've spoken to Abdul Razak, the Golden Boy. We're about to speak to Mohamed Polo, Herbert Mensah, Harris Akor have all agreed, and it's a comprehensive package and it will be aired on international, network. 2 weeks ago, I'd spoken to him in the course of the weekend. He had promised that he had archives, and we know he had materials. The night before our scheduled interview date, I spoke to him as late as 10 p.m. and he was in good health. He didn't sound like somebody who was ill or sick at all. The next day, the morning, I tried calling him several times. I called, the phone will ring, and he'll pick the call, but you can only hear the BBC, the background of BBC, in the background, the sound. And then after I finished with my midday presentation at midday, I still called. I even made George Addo Jr. to call him to see. Maybe he was not picking my call. He called and it was the same thing. We couldn't get hear from him, and he'll pick the call. So after midday, I rushed to his home in Agbelenque. When I got there, I shouted, "James, James, James." Nobody responded. So I could hear a sound from inside. And then I said, okay, let me just get into the room and see. When I got there, James was on the floor. He has dropped from the bed. He has suffered, mild stroke. Half of his body was very stiff. So quickly we had to abandon everything and then rush him to the 37 military hospital. We got there and he had to pass through the process. They knew him already because he had been on admission, I think, for 4 months there last year. And so they just quickly reached for his file and had to go through the process. So 2 weeks he had been, bedridden, and so he passed on Monday. But we got to hear of the news yesterday. Because poor man, no friend. That is the reality, But and
he was staying alone.
He was staying alone. Now when I got there, he was staying alone. So I don't know, who was with him. I mean, the rest is for the family to do.
For many of the times when we're talking to him, we introduce him as beyond a thing about a football historian and somebody who does analysis, as a sports administrator. How deeply was he into football management?
Very, very deep. I mean, for long he was with To the Mighty Jets because Abu Sondonko, who is manager for To the Mighty Jets, was with him, and he's been through To the Mighty Jets through, thick and thin.
Over the years.
Over the years, and also when the late Alhaji Bimbo was alive, Mammo B. Midtjylland, he was also part of them. He was a fine administrator. He was the general secretary of the Ghana Coaches Association. I mean, working with RD and CK, the late CK Jenfi, almost all the Ben Kofi, almost all the coaches, because he could even recollect some of from their playing days and what they did in their careers. So he was close to the old folk, you know, in terms of history, how do you call it, collection and also archiving, just on his mind. Everything etched on his mind.
Yeah.
And he was just not about football. You know, he could talk about, you know, when it came to horse racing, he was a kingpin. In athletics, he could give you the history of Ghana's athletics. And he was also trying to stay updated. I remember he was telling me he wanted to be on Facebook. You know, he wanted to read what's new on the internet.
He wanted to open an account on Facebook.
An account on Facebook. He wanted to be on the internet, to read, you know, the sports news coming in, you know, from all over the world. And that was how he wanted to stay updated. Unfortunately, he passed on. And everybody here, I mean, when James enters from the makeup room to cameras to the producers, he was loved because he was very affable. He never got angry. He was smiley, you know, full of life.
And talking about anger, I think I saw him get angry once.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He only gets angry when you try to challenge him on his...
but to my own stage, I think I saw him get angry once. It was on a fact, though.
Yeah, fact. That's
so
when he tried to challenge
something
him.
that he thought was ineffectual, yes.
You know, when you ask him a question, he says, "You've thrown banana to the monkey." You know, what do you expect the monkey to do with banana? And that was the finest of James. It's just unfortunate that we couldn't. You know,
have we been able to store enough history from him?
No, not at all. I mean, the only time we're about to get details from him was when
this documentary that you've been working on.
Yes, when he was struck by the illness and then had to be picked to or rushed to the 37 military hospital. So he was also, today is part of World Diabetes Day. He was also diabetic and you know, he was just recuperating. I think he had gone through the process and was okay, you know, from the first time he was at the hospital, you know, to date. And for many who knew him, I mean, you can only say good things about James.
Okay. There's always something about, sometimes sports, well, it's about all of us in the world sometimes, but sometimes about sports, sometimes the fairy tale stories tend to become anticlimaxes and things like that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people in the world of football, and even some of the young ones who maybe are okay now, who could help such people as administrators, because football people have gone through his hands, etc. Do we have some funds, welfare schemes, available for such people?
No, not at all. I think it's only, you can only profit from philanthropists. I mean, we don't have something institutionalized, you know, for people like that. Never do we have, you know, things like that. So maybe from time, maybe this will set the pace. Let's get, you know, things done properly. Let's archive things and ensure that he's everything that people have. I think you should be writing a book by now, you know. Yeah. Because there's nothing. Mama V should be doing something.
Yeah,
it's
you know
true.
how she came through from doing voiceovers now. To
I haven't achieved anything yet.
No, it's not about achievement.
So when I achieve something, I'm
no,
sure
it's not about achievement, but it's about the experience.
It's true.
And I think that's what is hurting.
I think we all do have more than enough to share.
Yes, just put it together.
That's what you mean.
Waking up at dawn. You know, people will say yes.
It's a terrible job.
You know, from voiceovers to prime time.
Is that not terrible?
Mama V speaks about mother and you know, becoming a parent and then combining early.
Right. But
Ponsa.
Thank you very much. But I hope Joy Sports, you're going to have a befitting tribute for
No,
me.
I'm
You're really on it.
No,
I see you're really psyched up for
He
it.
was almost, you know, like a part of the multimedia group.
I'm printing T-shirts.
Actually, he was part of every sports program in the media.
In the media.
Yeah,
because it was about relationships and he related very well with everybody.
So. I'm printing T-shirts and I'm printing.
You're printing T-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's un-Islamic, but I hope I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, just to.
You can do that through me. Just give me the money. I'll do that. I'm not a Muslim, so I can do that for you.
But then I feel.
Yeah, once you give me them, I'll do the printing so that it doesn't become un-Islamic.
I know, but it's my money.
Well, Francis Glick on the Volta region says, may his soul rest in peace. Indeed, may his soul rest in peace. So what kind of plans? Do we know of any plans immediately?
Not yet, because his dad was the Yoruba community in 2nd D,
Originally, he's a Nigerian.
No, his dad is Nigeria, and then his mom.
Grandparents.
His dad is in Nigeria. He's from Nigeria. He's a Nigerian, and he was in second year as the head of the Yoruba community in Nigeria.
Okay.
So part of his education, he was born there in Nigeria. He was born in Sekondi. That was where he lived, and he always says, you know,
Sekunde.
From Jendu Park, because their house, house number 21/22.
Oh, you remember?
Was,
he passed something on to you.
Yeah.
Yes. You know,
he does.
You know, so that's the house in Sekondi, and the house still exists. That was where he was born, close to the Jendu Park, and he lived in the house of the first goalkeeper of the Black Stars, that's goalkeeper Kasum, and he talks a lot. It was from there he migrated, and I think they went to Nigeria, and he picked this Master of Science in Economics. You know,
he has a Master of Science in Economics.
Yes, MSc in Economics. So
wow.
that was how deep he was, and with respect.
Very knowledgeable person.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just also gives you the thing. It's not always about the money, is it?
It's not always.
It's about the passion.
It's about the passion.
Yeah. Right. But money sometimes revolves around.
No,
but
money is everything. Money is everything.
Passion is everything. We can argue about this. Passion is everything.
Passion is everything. Money.
Passion drives you.
Yes.
Money doesn't drive you.
You know,
money dictates to you. Yeah. You know.
Stop this sermon.
But thank you for being here.
But
thank you for sharing.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We're so much grateful.
I'm also grateful because you are the only guys giving me a platform to campaign for James after. You know, what I feel very emotional about. I don't want to go into how you know
his
when we're anyway.
May his soul rest.
May his soul rest in peace.
He was a good one. He was a good one.
Okay.
But Roland has been saying all morning, today is World Health Day, and the theme is Beat Diabetes. We've got our colleagues in Kumasi. Today, the Sugar Project will conduct simultaneous screening exercises in up to 9 different locations across the Ashanti region. The Sugar Project, led by Super Morning Show host Kojo Yangson, will be conducting these free health screenings in collaboration with the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate and the KNUST School of Medical Sciences, who are doing this as part of their 40th anniversary celebrations. It is anticipated that over 4,000 people will be screened in this free exercise to determine their diabetes status. The Sugar Project is sponsored by the Vodafone Foundation, Rotary Club of Accra Airport, and Medilab Diagnostic Services. So if you're in the Ashanti region, make sure you are seen and screened. But our colleagues who are in Kumasi are the Cosados Arena Hotel. And Derek Ekol-Sam says that he's asked the entire hotel to tune in to Joy News. So you're all locked down watching Joy News right now. We appreciate the fact that you're hosting our colleagues and friends, and keep watching the show. We're back. We're talking WAEC. We're high on WAEC this morning, so stay with us and keep those comments coming through. Remember, we're opening the phone lines for you to be part of this conversation as well.
And so whatever it is that you have, please make sure that you do have your points written down, or you want to send out those messages, but also get your phones ready, get your credit ready, call us and contribute to our discussions on the leaked papers, the management of the external examinations by the West African Examination Council.